Well, Rodney Hinds, just as we thought we might be let outdoors, sir.
Yeah.
We've been told to sit tight for another 3 weeks as a minimum. I think it's the right thing to do, bearing in mind what's gone on in the last 4 weeks. I'm no government politician. I'm just using my savvy here. It seems like, I mean, it's kind of strange to say this. Hundreds, and in one day, I think thousands are dying.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't contemplate at this stage even returning back to any semblance of normality. So the decision this week to extend the lockdown wasn't a surprise to me. What about yourself?
Yeah, no surprise. I mean, obviously, at the start of the lockdown, they couldn't have told us that we're going to be locked down for 12 weeks or 9 weeks, because that would have frightened everybody to death. So they're doing it in chunks. We've done half the job already, haven't we? As you said, another 3 weeks to go. So it's going to be very, very interesting. There might even be time after that, because I think it takes us around to the first week of May. So, yeah, we just have to get our heads around it. But, you know, we've made a start with the last 3 weeks. So, yeah, we've got to push on from there.
Yeah, I didn't envisage, I'll be honest, I reckon there'll be a further extension as well. So I'm just not sure if people are capable of getting their head around being told they're going to stay indoors for more than 3 weeks at a time. So
yeah,
it probably makes sense. What have you been up to? As if I didn't know.
Like everybody else, working from home is now the norm. And obviously in our profession, we can do that quite comfortably, as long as you've got all your technology together. So, listen, our profession means that we have to try and get out as often as we can to follow stories. That's now not possible. Yeah. So we just crack on. You know, everyone's in the same boat right now.
Yeah. Any stories that have caught your attention particularly? I know there was one that went up on the Voices website that really touched me. There's been so many stories that have touched me really, but just the young girl that we've got who was making the PPE for I mean, how old was she? 8?
She's 8. That story is actually going to be sensational for the Voice. I just spoke to her mother, and she's so hugely proud of young Nala. So yeah, I mean, the PPE has been a key topic of debate, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Over the last couple of weeks and months. We're sorely not prepared. And sadly, you know, we have had NHS workers, key workers, losing their lives because of a lack of PPE. And one of the saddest stories on Voice Online, and elsewhere, was the nurse.
You've paused.
Yeah?
For some reason. I'm
still here, sir.
Oh, you're back here. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, the nurse, 28, that lost her life, but gave birth, you know, to a youngster. That's one of the saddest stories of all for me.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess the saddest thing is they're going to hear more of those, innit? That girl was 28 you're talking about, right? 28 years of age.
28, yeah. No, so young. And
that was a shocker. You know, and she's a nurse as well, right? So
yeah, you're right, yeah.
You know, and I heard she was one of those nurses that, well, what I read, that she was literally loved by all, decorated. And I guess it's hard not to love her, anybody who's involved in the medical profession right now. But I understand that her career and record was exemplary. So
yeah, absolutely right.
Crying shame. Anything lightening your mood? What's doing for you? What's, you know, beyond coronavirus? What's happening?
I think obviously young Nala's story, even in the midst of the pandemic, was wonderful to read and to do. Highly inspirational. On the lighter side, there's not too much sport, which is obviously our thing. So we can't really talk too much about that. Nice to see that the players are getting themselves together. I think the last I just read, that Arsenal's management had taken a pay cut. The players were looking to take a pay cut. And that might set a little bit of a standard for football, which has been quite vilified, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, what other sports have stepped up, Rodney? Because football's in the limelight, but what other sports have stepped up? You
can't really name them, unfortunately. I'm sure some people are doing some great work behind the scenes, but the footballers, pardon the pun, have taken a little bit of a kicking. I suppose that's their profile, that's their income that does that. But what we now need is everybody else to step up. The blue chip CEOs as well need to step up and do their thing.
You know, I just read a story just before we went live about the league, the championship, and I think just beneath that, resuming games behind closed doors. I don't know how true it was. I literally just saw the push notification on my phone from another publication. Can there really be any thought of having football right now?
No, they can't.
The thing about this whole coronavirus for me is that, you know, I can sit here and talk about have any other sport stepped up, but all those sports involve human beings. And this coronavirus does not discriminate. I don't know what state those sports are actually in, let alone can they step up and you know, help others. I guess they've got to help yourself. But it's interesting to read reports, and I've seen this narrative being drip fed of, you know, behind closed doors. What did the players get a say in this? Like, what?
I don't think I don't think that, as you quite rightly said, listen, people are losing their lives, and you know, all the advice suggests that we're still to reach the peak, and that's with thousands dying every day around the world, and certainly in the United Kingdom. First of all, football has no place right now. Yes, I know everyone's got a plan for, you know, the other side of the tunnel where there's a little bit of light. But right now, why would you even consider having a football match behind closed doors or in any capacity? Because as I understood it, if you're going to have a game behind closed doors, you may well need emergency services in attendance to facilitate that game. Now, right now, the emergency services and key workers are stretched beyond belief. So why would you even want 2 or 3 of them potentially in the house while there's a game taking place that no one's really bothered about right now, certainly not the fans? So I think we just need to be careful what the priorities are. And it's certainly not football right now. Listen, you talked about The Voice, you know, the types of stories that we're doing. I know that you, for example, are trying to provide more music and entertainment type stories because, listen, while football and sport generally will serve as a real positive catalyst when the time's right, you know, we've got to report on what's happening right now. The types of stories that you've been doing, film, music, etc. I think those are the sort of things we've got to try to get into people's psyches. Yeah. And probably even more so when, for the first time, The Voice has had no print edition, or will have no print edition for May, potentially even June. And obviously that June one is to be clarified. But as a journalist right now, with so much fake news going on, I wouldn't say it's a privilege, but I would say it's something similar to be able to report to our community what's going on. And it's not about football right now. It's maybe about football in terms of the efforts that the players and the individuals and the clubs are putting together, but certainly not in terms of the action on the field.
No, you're right. I've been writing more stories on pretty much everything else. You like you mentioned, a lot of music, because I think music is a great remedy for the period, just to help preserve some kind of sanity, just keep your mental wealth intact. Yeah. One of the stories I uploaded yesterday to The Voice Online, and do go and check out all those stories, those people who are watching this, and welcome to the chat room. This is the first time Rodney and I are sitting down and just chewing the fat. We've got time to do that. We're both in our houses, a bit like yourself. But one of the stories I threw up yesterday, which when I got it and I was turning it around, would you let a tradesman in your house comfortably at the moment, Rod?
That story I thought was a fascinating one. I mean, I think that, you know, your do-it-yourself skills now have to come to play, just a bit like your cooking skills. No, I wouldn't let anybody in. I mean, listen, we've listened to all the government advice that right now everybody can catch it, coronavirus, and everybody can pass it on. So you have to limit who comes into your house right now, who comes into your household. Right now, it's about staying safe and well, because if we get, as I said, to the other side of this, then we can deal with all the issues, whether it be the money, the job, the this, the that, whatever. We just got to stay safe. The messages are constant and they're clear. So no, I wouldn't, definitely not.
Yeah, that one did make me sit up and think. I guess I might have to leave for a little while, and then he or she would have to leave before. I was trying to work it all out. It was, go and read that story and do leave your comments on what you were doing in that situation. Another kind of, I've been thinking about loved ones and not being able to be with them at that critical moment where they've passed. A friend of mine who works for another publication, his mum passed, and he was sharing the agony of not being able to just be with his mum in those final moments and the funerals. And my mind's really just been on those who are suffering at this separation, this social distancing, this isolation, because it's affecting so many things. And in the long run, you can only see a spate of mental health issues arising as a result. And, you know, it's good to see, and that's another one of the stories that I put up, some of the initiatives, digital solutions that are being presented to combat that and to offset what is inevitably going to come.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, listen, the priority right now is to stay safe and well, social distancing, working from home, etc., etc. Those are the things, and I think that what we have to do as a community, we have to just calm down, and we have to calm down, take the government advice, take all the advice, you know, and even if you can't do it for yourself, you have to look at what the key workers are doing, people that deliver stuff, the nurses, the doctors, the GPs, etc., etc. We have to give them a fighting chance to do their jobs correctly and safely. And if they can put their lives on the line, we can certainly stay at home and do as we're told. And that's all that matters right now.
Who you got coming in the chat room soon, mate? I know you probably got a couple of interviews lined up. I've already sat down with Martin Francis. He's going to be out this afternoon.
Yeah, the chat room's going to be something that The Voice is going to be doing on a regular basis. And obviously, you know, we've got people that want to tell a story. And if people want to contact us and be in the chat room, they're quite
just have a chat.
Yeah, just have a chat. We can chat. Everyone's got a little bit of time right now. I would love to get my old mate Sean Wallace from The Chase on. I've been watching several episodes of that over the last few months. My old mate Chrissy Houghton, I've often thought, what's he doing right now? He's obviously been out of work. I think there's been an addition to the family. I think young.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes.
Young Aisha's had a little one as well. So congratulations to the
congratulations. Yeah.
In regards to that as well. So listen, general public, key workers, anyone that wants to join us in the chat room is more than welcome to do so. And
on that note, I'm gonna leave you to it, Rods. I'm sure you've got a lot to do, or not. I don't know. Have you been for a run today?
Not today, but I've to be sorting that out.
Get it in.
Just got to find different ways of just keeping yourself fit and healthy. And
agreed.
I think the physical exercise is as important as the mental exercise because they feel each other, don't they? Yeah. Totally. So yeah, watch this space for the chat room. Always good to talk, my friend.
You know, the next time we come on, actually, I want to know what supplements you've been taking because I know who your daughter is. So I want to know what supplements you've got there to keep your immune system boosted. So we'll have a chat about that next time we get in the room. I'll show you yours if you show me mine, Rodney.
No problem at all.
Or maybe the other way around. I don't know. I'll get that right next time. Take it easy.
All right, mate. Take care.